This is the book of Matthew 24:6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Infinite praise, glory, and honor be unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect. So as you can see, breaking news that things are escalating in the region that the world calls the Middle East, all right, which is really just West Asia. But nonetheless, we see that prophecy is unfolding, okay? And I want to get a precept. Well, first I should break these down, all right? Wars and rumors of wars, okay? We see that this is more rumors of wars. Allegedly, there's these stealth bombers, and the stealth bombers are capable of holding nuclear payloads. They're capable of striking deep. They're capable of striking Iran's nuclear sites. Iran just released a video of, them having in the mountains deep underground bases with a lot of missiles and weaponry. All right, but we know that the end is not yet, because the prophecy of the MOTB, which you have certain individuals saying that the MOTB is not real, that was added, sowing more doubt. Guys that prophesy with hats on, acting a fool. That dude is a persona non grata. But nonetheless, we have to address these things. But we see, and those that have the eye salve see, that we're in a time of prophecy being fulfilled, all right? And we have nation rising against nation. This is Revelation 3:18. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, right? Which is likened unto the truth, right? And white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed. Again, the truth. The covering is likened unto clothing, likened unto precious stones or gold. And that's how we are rich, by the truth, by knowing the truth. And that the shame of thy nakedness did not appear, right? Because being without the truth, knowing Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, knowing these prophecies, that is, if you don't have that, you're naked. Okay, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. The eye salve is the truth. Bear with me. Revelation 3:18. All right, when we read here, it says, I wanted to get the word for eye salve, right? Because that's what gives us the ability to break down these world events as we measure the time diligently. The word is kulurion, okay?
Strong's G 2854, kalurion. Thayer's Lexicon, related entry. Kalurion.
So that's the word kalurion. And it says a preparation composed of various materials and used as a remedy for tender eyelids. All right. And that is what we use. All right. The truth is that remedy for your eyes. Okay. So your eyes can be opened and you can see things as they are in this world. Okay. I'm going to get another clip. This is a clip from X. Okay. And the thing is, they haven't even, those Elamites, which they are the Persians in the Bible, they haven't even retaliated from the last time Israel hit them. Let alone now they're hitting. Now the Houthis are getting hit, and from various reports I'm seeing, it's consistent. And the Houthis are hitting back on um, the U.S. Navy that's in the region. So we're getting to the point where it's not just going to be rumors anymore. Rumors is one stage of the game. We're getting into the part where it's going to be full blown conflict, and this can be the black swan. You know, whether a nuke is set off or whether a conflict gets escalated to a point of no return, and then they have to try to draw things back. But once it's up, it's not going back. All right, they might have a temporary period where they say, okay, like they said it was a ceasefire with Gaza. Now look how they reignited again. This devil breaks all of his contracts, you know? So he's not to be trusted, and the nations are coming to realize that. All right, but look at what they have, man. They're ready to go. And they're releasing it. They're letting it be known. They're about that action. You see? They're not fucking around. All right, but what does the scripture say? This is the book of Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So again, all right, prepare, but this is what we're proclaiming amongst the Gentiles. Everybody has to walk to the tune and dance to the tune of the drumbeat of prophecy, of what the Lord has us saying, man. Okay? So these insignificant men seemingly tell the world, right, that the Lord gave, this knowledge and wisdom and understanding. They are all subject to the word. That's how the scriptures say, I made you a God unto Pharaoh. You see? Esau and these nations, including the Persians, they are subject to what we're saying at the end of the day. This is the highest counsel. This is the highest declaration, all right, of what's to come, of prophecy. All right, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Okay, so now what are they doing? They're getting ready. All right, and from the looks of it, they're already ready. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Again, take your money away from, farming and agriculture, which is ways to feed your people, and instead invest in war. That's what the nations are doing. Let the weak say, I am strong. And the EU, they're getting ready for war with Russia, okay, which they're dead set on that war, the military-industrial complex. They're not taking it lightly. Those are all puppets, the EU leaders. They're all puppets of the military-industrial complex. And they're not taking it lightly that Trump is saying he's going to pull out, but he's pulling out from Ukraine, but yet he's doubling down on another part of the world. So now they have more resources to go at the Arab nations. All right? And Iran is a guard to those dragons of Arabia. Okay? Beat your plowshares, and we're going to get that. All right? And Russia is a guard to them all, right? Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen. And the weak is saying they're strong because now they have those high level weaponry. Okay? That formerly they were not able to. China is devising ways to make weapons cheaper. AI is coming out, and they're coming, and it's accelerating all the processes of all these prophecies, man. Because it's a method to the madness. There's actual things that have to occur. Weapons have to be made and things like that. But with AI, man, these things are happening in the blink of an eye. They found new and cheap and innovative ways to make weaponry. Because if it's applying to regular everyday things, China got some cars that'll blow the US cars out the water, and they making them for cheaper. Same thing with construction. A lot of people are dealing with Chinese construction companies. Those are some of the biggest ones. Even here in the US, when you want to get materials and things, they go to the Chinese because they can get it for cheaper. Why bother dealing with the US companies when you're gonna get ripped off? You see, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourself. So if it applies to those things, it applies to high level weaponry as well. All right, so all these heathen, what are they doing? And gather yourselves together round about, thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Now you have those bombers, those stealth bombers are now stationed in that base. Slovakia. Right, all you gotta do is Google it. All right, look, Houthis bomb U.S. aircraft carrier in revenge strike. So they're not taking it sitting down. All right, America's looking to go at everybody right now, and this nigga Trump, look at him in his thumbnail down here. He looks like he's a raging maniac, man. All right, Trump's final assault on Iran now. This is from the Times of India. That's what I played earlier. All right, Trump's final assault on Iran now. U.S. stealth bomber. Israel needs U.S. stealth bombers if Trump decides to destroy Iran's nuclear sites. That was from Business Insider 6 days ago. Now the bombers are ready to go. Diego Garcia is a military base in India, in the Indian Ocean. And that's within a closer range, and they're positioned to potentially strike Iran, all right? Because those stealth bombers, they could use them on the Houthis, but it would be kind of like overkill. But against a more formidable foe like Iran, it would definitely make sense. But we'll see how things play out, man. This thing could easily go up. And that could be a way for them to implement the economic crash, because Iran would then be most likely that oil will get cut off, and that will cause the economy to just crash, So when the economy crashes, man, they can use that and say, and a myriad of other reasons they'll come up with to implement the MOTB, the chip. Okay? But let's get this. 2nd Ezra 15. And we're going to hit straight to the point. All right? 2nd Ezra 15 and 28. Behold, an horrible vision and the appearance thereof from the east. Yeah, so what's happening now is happening out where? In the east, the eastern world, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude, and that's dealing with their armies, what have you. It's all those Arab nations, and they're rallying around Gaza, okay, because that's their people, the Muslim world, right? Now they're saying Turkey has too much of a stronghold in Syria, and Israel doesn't like that. So it's Israel and America versus the whole entire world, basically, at this point. You don't have... you could maybe count the amount of allies you got on one hand, and that shit is about to be done away with as well. These Amalekites are nuts, man. You see? Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. All right, the Carmanians dealing with who? The Persians. That's another reference to the Persian Empire. And with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians, right, which is America. Okay, and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. You see? And if they shall turn to themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be troubled, bled, and keep silence through their power, and shall flee. All right, so the point being that they're going to be rallied against, the dragons of Arabia, the Arab countries, the Muslim world, with the Carmanians, all right, the Persians, the Iranians, and we see that coming to pass right now. Okay, and that's why they're looking. You see, and these people that voted for Trump, man, they are now, sorely displeased at what he's doing, because they thought it was going to be peace. They thought, hey, when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction cometh upon them. Okay, so Bible prophecy is thumping right now, all right? And it ain't going to go away. All right? I'm going to close it out with this one. Sirach 43 and 1. That's not 43. It might be, let's see, 38? Yeah, 39 and 1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies. So that's what we are. We're occupied in prophecies. This is our occupation. This is our job, the vocation which we've been called for. So we're going to constantly be watching for these things and keeping an eye out on current events. Man, we'll be like some of the first, if not the first, that'll be on this breaking news. As soon as it comes out, we're doing videos. You got other individuals, you got Scott Ritter, you got Judge Napolitano, you got a lot of other individuals, Colonel McGregor, you got Canadian Prepper, Desert Farmer. Hey, you got a bunch of pages. Redacted, even though Redacted, they kind of fell off since Trump got in there, because they're pro-Trump. They might act like they are not biased, but they're very pro-Trump. So they kind of like, they haven't been covering a lot of major things that otherwise they would have been, because it would make Trump look bad. So they're getting their ass exposed too. But either way, how about Shem Yahshai is pouring it out. And our job is to watch, all right, as the hopeful prophets, hopeful elect, and the watchmen on the tower. All right, and through the name of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, we're watching, all right, in order to discern the times that we're in. And we see that we're at the time of the end. So, all right, our message to the nation of Israel, or the elect of you, is to repent, because the time is quickly approaching. All right, time is not a luxury that this devil has. All right, and for you Israelites that are not repenting and are not returning to the Lord, it's not a luxury that you have either. So you need to get it together and turn back to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. That is our message, all right? And the reason why we cover these prophecies is, well, it's our job. We've been commanded to do so, but also in you hearing the prophecies and the wrath that's coming, you're supposed to fear the Lord and turn back to him, all right? Because there's brighter days coming for the elect, but we just got to get through this time of trouble. And Lord's will, we're going to get through it through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So I'm going to close it out. All praise, glory, and honor be unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai B'Shem Achak Wadash. And shalom to the next one.